Good Monday, the ultimate rubber band intro morning, everybody.
That was a ride.
This is episode 53. Welcome. My name is Jibs, and I'm joined by Sonny Ravencourt.
Not how you rubber band.
I hate the rubber band intro so much. Oh, goodness. But it's so like 90s radio, right? Like all of it. I'm either in 90s radio or at any monster truck rally in the last 50 years.
It's Sunday.
It's all that. If you were a little more gruff and yelling at me, I'd be right there.
And Cash is here.
Hey, everybody, it's Cash, and my ultimate goal tonight is to give Sonny the hardest time as possible.
Come on, I don't need it every week. I thought you got most of that out last week.
Nope. We got yellow cards, bro. We have plans tonight, pal.
Before we get started, gentlemen, I forgot to tell you, I have something very serious we need to discuss on the show. It's incredibly serious. It's a news update. Pumpkin spice is now available at Starbucks.
Yes!
Worldwide.
Yes!
I had my pumpkin spice latte this morning. It's fantastic.
You beat me to it. I haven't had one yet. How was it? Was it magical?
Holy balls, Sonny. The sky opened. There was eagles and American flags. And all of a sudden I just heard America.
No, you didn't.
That's right.
No, you
Cash's
didn't.
face was there, and he was holding the mugs
guitar
of pumpkin spice.
And sewing a flag as it flew by.
I'll tell you what. I wouldn't even take a well-cooked French fry and dip it in a pumpkin spice latte.
Because I already determined those aren't real.
Yeah, well done.
I would feel like less of a man.
Well, you can pass that whatever fraction of man right onto me because I'm taking it all. I'm pumpkin spice until they take it off the menu.
Heck yeah. And you know what's funny? On the last episode when we were bagging on Cash about the well done fry thing, he had a militia that came out of left field in full defense of the well done fry option.
Oh,
it is a thing.
Including
yes.
Dr. Burns. When a doctor endorses something, y'all better listen.
We're not sure he's a real doctor.
He just plays one on YouTube.
He might just play one on YouTube.
Oh, geez. Hey, there is something I want to do. Before our live recording of the show, we played a bard song that was written and prepared by our very own Black Talon Trading Company member of the Wardens, Flaris. And I want to say thank you for doing that. That's been something that we've been wanting to do. And if you're listening to this show on our recording on Monday morning, listen after the show because we're going to replay it. It's fantastic, and it is made for the Wardens, which is one of the 3 branches of the Black Talon Trading Company. And it's a really great listen. So, Flaris, thank you very much.
There is a capital one, and I think Flaris did that one too.
I'm noticing.
Flaris, are you cheating on me?
I don't even have one, so just be thankful. How about that?
The capital one's better.
Are we just assumed that the Warborn just beat a drum and that's all we do? Is that all we get? We just beat a drum.
just a bunch of knuckle draggers. They don't have the ability to write music.
Guys, I need help protecting my caravan. Jibs, can you come help me?
Daedric did the capital one. So next week we'll play the capital one. And then
that's fair.
Eventually we'll hear the awkward shuffling of the Warborn.
It's a call to arms. We need a Warborn chant / ditty.
Sonny, now all I hear is wooden clogs. Like we're clogging now.
It's like they're coming out of the black gate.
Yeah.
We need a Warborn one, but I'm putting the call to arms out right now. I'm very Warborn-esque. We need it with jazz flute.
Ooh, like Ron Burgundy style when he's like walking on the...
Ooh, that's pronounced Yaz flute.
Yaz flute. Yeah, we need a little Yaz flute.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yaz flute.
Jay Silent.
That would be great. Can we get that?
Oh,
Baxter.
man.
Baxter, is that you? Bark twice if you're in Milwaukee.
Oh gosh, there's so many one-liners. We may need to watch that together on our little on our little mountain vacation we're all getting.
Oh,
ready
I
to
think
take.
so, right?
We should watch it on a movie night, but
Yeah.
it might be past the PG-13 rating.
Yeah, it's iconic though.
It
you know,
is.
it's one of those movies like you just have to appreciate it for what it is. Like going back and watching Animal House. You know.
I don't think we could watch that one either, Sonny.
Nope. But iconic.
Yeah,
Nonetheless.
and amazing.
Still iconic.
Amazing.
It's like Office Space.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Well, everybody, thank you again so much for hanging out with us. Everyone here at LoreForged Live, you all are awesome. So for everyone who's listening, maybe you're driving but you can't be here at this thing. Well, hey, we do this live every week, and the people are here. Pockets Art, what's going on? Good to see you. You can come in and enjoy the live recording, be part of the live show and all the funny and craziness and all the fun stuff. But anyway, this week on the show, gentlemen, just so happens there was a massive Alpha 2 roadmap AMA that
Massive in every sense of the word.
yeah. And before we get started, there's a few things we need to talk about to everyone who's here. Number one, to really do this thing justice, we felt we're breaking this up into two parts. So this first part, so this is going to be part one of the Alpha 2 roadmap. What we're going to be doing tonight is a few things. Number one, we're going to be having discussion on the alpha phases, okay, which we know 1, 2, and 3, right? And then we're going to be talking about the price of the Alpha 2 keys. That both of those things have kind of been making their way around the community. We're going to have a discussion on that. And then we are, throughout this whole discussion, we're going to be talking about the things that you will see in phase 1. Okay. So we're going up to phase 1. And then part 2, Sonny's got a finger? 2. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I see. I'm tracking now. I understand what you're doing. Sonny. Okay. So then the part 2, then we're going to cover phase 2 and phase 3 and the AMA. All right. So tonight, whenever you're listening, we're doing up to phase 1, and we're covering the phases and the Alpha 2 key price. So, gentlemen, I really thought you wanted to talk, Sonny. You were like throwing every piece of energy of podcaster thing that we do behind the scenes. Like when he's doing this, I know he needs to speak. Yeah, Cash. I'm like, now he has 2 points.
No, I don't want to speak. I just want to hold up my one finger to reference phase 1.
I'm like, and then even Cash is leaning in the mic. I'm like, okay, I know that cue. Yeah,
We're giving all the visual signs.
That's a YouTube thumbnail face right there. Oh, but you know, Steven brought up a lot of things on the stream, and we saw it across the community, and we're just going to jump in. We saw it across the community a lot. There was a lot of things brought up on this stream that brought out, I should say, some very intense emotion from various folks from around the community. And whether it be creators or fans or what have you, people that are popping their heads in for every now and then into the community. So I want to preface all this by saying, regardless of how we feel, I want to reiterate how important it is as a community. All of us here, everyone, and I don't just mean I mean Cash, myself, and Sonny. All three of us really want to reiterate the importance of when you're having these new people come in the community, people that, and Cash, I know that we've seen a lot of this in the past with gaming and stuff in general. When people come into a community, we have an opportunity as a community, the people who are already here. You have a great opportunity. In a world where it's easy to be jerks, be kind. In a world where the bar is so low, it's buried miles under the soil, when you want to be a jerk, be kind. Because when you do that and you set that precedent, guys, you really can set a good feel for people who are coming in, and it's really, really important.
I think something that was really profound to me when I was watching, and I've watched the AMA 3 times now. I loved it. I really wanted to absorb it. Well, I lied. I watched it once and I listened to it twice, just off on YouTube. And one of the things that was said by Steven was very profound to me. And if you have been paying attention to any of the reactions and stuff about the AMA, I think it's mostly positive. I think people are very accepting, very positive about it. But if you've been paying attention, you have undoubtedly witnessed some distension and some disrespecting of others. And one of the things that Steven said was that as a community as a whole, when new people come in with differing opinions that might be kind of uneducated on certain aspects, and they might come at it with some vitriol, we do not attack, we do not pounce, and we do not mistreat. And I thought that that was such an excellent statement for him to say, because although our small community in LoreForged and the communities that we've had in the past don't pale in comparison to a large MMO gaming community as a whole, one thing that we have been able to introduce into our formula, and is really kind of a secret for us, is that building a community goes much better for everybody, and you will find that your communities will grow faster and thrive if you lead with kindness, like Jibs was saying. Not everybody's going to have your point of view, but we can show respect to everybody by accepting differing opinions, and then where we need to, we can politely educate folks on the things that they're getting wrong about a certain point. Or, I mean, if it's facts and they're debating facts and they're debating what they think are facts, and those facts are incorrect, then we can kindly and respectfully correct that without judging, attacking, pouncing, mistreating. So, yeah, I guess that's our little public safety announcement. Sonny, do you have anything to say about it?
No, I mean, you guys basically hit it all. By the way, I think I'm going to start coining the people that just drop in when big drama hits as paratroopers. They are now, in my mind, paratroopers.
I love when you said that.
Yeah.
They just drop in behind enemy lines.
Yeah, they really.
Like, I'm going. Jump out of the plane, enemy lines. They're in there, and they're like, look at me. And some of the biggest streamers do that, and that's what we saw with this. Is some of the biggest streamers paratrooped in behind enemy lines and had their big opinions on stuff, and that was just a good message. You know, it was just a very good message, and I think that it is kind of synonymous with the way that we've always conducted ourselves with our podcast, and it's easy for us to absorb that message because that's kind of the way that we agree it should be done. It's hard, though. That's the thing, right? Like, it's easy to go ahead and freak out, and frankly, it's somewhat rewarding to do that. I think it's fair to say, at least as far as algorithms and YouTube and Twitch and things like that. But just try to avoid it. You know, like, you just don't need to do that. So I'm happy with the way that we've conducted ourselves. I love the way that they are doing this. And for new people, like, if you want Ashes to succeed, then be welcoming and explain what's going on to new people that don't know. And if you're the first face that they see and you're a welcoming face, that's great. They'll stick around. That's all you want, right? The more people that play an MMO, the better.
And trust me, the people that show up and all they want to do is spit venom, one of two things is going to happen. Either the community through kindness is going to set the example for them, and they're going to kind of fall in line. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say comply, because they're going to kind of understand what the culture is, and they're going to stay, or they're going to try and find another community that is going to feed off of people who spit venom. And I just don't think that's the Ashes community. So it follows one of the fundamental rules that I've learned about MMOs over the last couple decades. And it is, when you're playing an MMO, you want to tell everybody to play the MMO you're playing. Okay. And as soon as you leave that MMO, you want everyone to leave. It is like a weird phenomenon that happens. You explain how everybody should come play this MMO because it's awesome, because I'm playing it. And then as soon as you leave for whatever reason, it's like,
no, that MMO is no good. Don't bother wasting your time. And it's a weird thing with these social communities like this. It is a very strange thing that maybe it's just a comfort in like feeling like you're right. But you know, it very much flies in the face of like everything that I do now, which is kind of just like, hey man, if you love those kind of games, play those kind of games. If you like that, like that's your jam. If you like that TV show, if you like the Rings of Power, if you like new Star Wars stuff, awesome, man. You know, let it go. Enjoy it. Why do you gotta rain on somebody else's parade, blow out their candle to see if yours burns brighter? It just doesn't work like that, you know?
I'm going to be all super,
cool, man.
super kind and super nice until I get ganked.
Oh yeah. I mean, if somebody even tries to like outbid me on the market, I will shiv them. I will find them and I will put a knife in them.
There's a lot of dark alleys in Vera. Okay.
I will threaten your family.
I will burn down houses, and I know how to hide bodies.
Oh, well, we had a good run before we got canceled. Everybody, thank you for the ride. Oh, couldn't said it. That's so funny. I know how to hide bodies. You really do. That's what's funny. All right. So anyway, so yeah, I couldn't say it better. And you know, guys, there was a lot, and this was one heck of a stream. It was really good. There's a lot of discussion. We can chew on this for the next several weeks. So when it comes to the AMA roadmap discussion, one of the big reveals they had right off the top. But before we even get to that, I will say this. We're going to be saying dates that revolve around Alpha 2. They did just drop the Alpha 2 wave bundles. So to everyone who's here, you want to get in, you can. The quickest you can get in is November 8th. So if you purchase them right now, you can get it November 8th. It starts at $100. No, that's Access 3. I'm sorry. So nope. First Access, 120. Thank you.
You already jacked it up.
Yeah, all right. So
misinformation.
Be kind.
So you can go get those keys and jump in November 8th. But the date I'm speaking to is for Phase 1. Now, they talked about this when Alpha 2, and that's going to start on October 25th, 2024. So, gentlemen, Phase 1 testing has been announced. Weekend testing, starting Friday and ending Sunday, will begin again on October 25th, 2024, and they plan to continue each following weekend. What do you guys think of that? That's fun, huh? I didn't see that coming.
Oh, no, nobody had this on their bingo card. This is different. This is interesting, right? Like, there's so much I want to talk about. So I'm just going to try to limit it here to talking about Phase 1 being released Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That is interesting. And it makes sense to me when you really break it down, because Phase 1 is presumably the weakest as far as cohesion and programming and like playability and all that stuff. So it makes sense. Put people in a shorter period of time, give a longer period of time to fix things, to set up the next task, to do stuff like that, right? Like thematically, as far as game development goes, it makes a lot of sense. Now, does it thrill me that that's the way that it's coming out? No, because now I'm just going to try to cram as much as I humanly can into Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the cost of my own personal health, which I don't love. But I get it, right? Cash, what'd you think about that?
I'm a fan. I am a fan, and maybe it's for personal reasons, but you know, like right now, I'm not working a shift schedule. I'm working Monday through Thursday, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is actually perfect for me, where I won't feel like I'm missing out on too much or maybe lagging behind a little bit, because I really do want to test. I really do want to test these systems, and I don't want to fall behind too much. I want to be there with our peeps doing all those things. So I was very, very happy to hear. First of all, I was super happy to hear that it wasn't going to be right in the middle of our retreat when we go to Tennessee.
Oh my gosh, I was so nervous
first
about
week
that.
Of October. I was super nervous about that. It's not going to fall on Halloween, which makes me very happy, so I can spend time with my family and not tell them to, you know, go piss off for the night because I'm busy. I wouldn't do that. I seriously wouldn't. My wife would probably cut my throat. But I'm happy about it. And I think for the same reasons that Sunny is. I think this is a way more labor intensive period for them as these systems are tested and start coming together. They will need the week, the better part of the week, in order to apply fixes and move us into the next phase. The other thing that it does is it gives us a teaser of what testing is like, instead of it just being full-time open server all the time until they need to bring it down for whatever reason. It gives us a taste on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of the things that we should be doing. Maybe some smaller focus groups, maybe some smaller objectives for us to concentrate on during those testing periods. And then they go right into gathering the data and fixing the things that we've reported over the weekend. So I'm very happy with it.
Yeah.
JB, what do you think about the schedule for that?
I like it, really, and it does make sense starting off. I mean, like, no, I think as gamers, like, no matter what, like, speaking strictly the gamer mindset, like, you want to play and just know that you can just keep going, right? But remember, this is testing, and it makes sense the fact that this is on a weekend, because then they can work on that thing the following week. You know, what was the feedback from the weekend? They're Monday through Friday, you know, they're back at it and can really address those things. And so for me, yeah, Sonny, I'm gonna be honest. This felt right to me. Felt right, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it just does. It makes a lot of sense, right? Like, I don't know how they do it any other way, right? How mad would people be if you were up for 3 days and then they took you down for 5 days, and then they put you up for 3 days and then they took you down for 5 days or something like that? Like, people would go crazy. They would lose their absolute minds.
They wouldn't be able to
something
keep
like
track
that.
of it.
But that might be the testing that needs to be done. So that makes a lot of sense. The next big thing here, well, I guess let's talk about phase 2 here. So phase 2 then goes up for 5 days. So we have 5 days then in phase 2, which is admittedly much more robust. I mean, when I was doing the live stream of this thing, I was live streaming the live stream, right? And we were watching it. And man, when they got into phase 2, that is the meat and potatoes. All of the features just start to be built into phase 2. And so there's going to be a 5-day period for that. And then they get kind of like the weekends off for that sort of rebuild, which seems a little stressful from a development standpoint. But that made a lot of sense to me too, you know? I'm sure it'll be down longer than that, and these are kind of like loose timelines. But I don't know, Cash, what did you think about the meat and potatoes sort of phase of testing to be up for 5 days like that?
I like the tiered. I really do like this tiered system. And as we get into phase 3, we'll talk about what that one is too. It's a little bit longer, but I think they're tiering it up a little bit, and I think probably a lot more live fixes will be introduced when the world's a little bit more persistent. To maybe test those things out. But again, I'm very, very happy with this. This is going to be through Christmas. So, you know, everybody's probably going to get a lump of coal in their stocking, because we're all going to be locked in playing the game as much as we possibly can. But the reasoning behind that, which Steven mentioned, was that a lot of people want to get into the game while they have their couple of weeks off for Christmas. So to me, it makes sense to go 5 days and then leave the weekend for so they can do what they need to do with the server, and you could spend some time with your family. You could pop yourself out. But you know, I don't think people are going to be like. I think there will be some people that are going to be completely locked into every day that they can get their hands on it. I think the days that we really have to prepare our families for are the days of launch. Like that's going to be a thing, because that is when the real race starts. So anyway, happy with phase 2.
Yeah, that's definitely when the race starts. It's you're talking about like Christmas dinner. I'm like, there's no Christmas dinners. There is no family. There's only Vera. 5 days a week.
I think by the time you get to phase 3, JB, that like you've been playing this thing, it's been open 5 days a week. It's down for a few days. I think that you're going to be a little more chill about it. It's that first transition into phase 1, and then 1 to 2, I think, are the bigger ones. Don't you think?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm thinking phase 2. I mean, like, and there's going to be so many things that are going to be in phase 1, you know, just like some off the top from world things. 55 square kilometers of the western and eastern Aelan Riverlands, Sand Squall Desert and Vandegar Tropics, 36 plus points of interest, day-night cycle, 4 seasons, dynamic, you know, like it just keeps going. Like, it's an incredible amount. Now, I know they had discussed that some of those things won't be in, you know, like right off the bat, some may be added as phase 1 continues. But even with phase 1, you know, being what it is, and then you move into phase 2, which has so many more things that it's going to be worked on. Like, there is a lot going on. There's a lot of moving parts. And with phase 2 specifically, 5 days of testing, I mean, like, you know, like, this is going to be fantastic. And Cash, you know, with phase 3 starting on May 1st, man, 2025.
It is. I think an important thing to remember too is that even though there's those massive lists of the things that are going to be released with each of these phases, I think it's very important to remember that they've asked us to be flexible with those things because they need to be agile. The way they put it was agile. Which basically means they need to be able to pivot and they need to just have all of those things and their release cadence be as on schedule as possible, but just realize that things might need to change based off of what they're releasing for each of the phases. The other thing is that the better testers we are, and the more we focus on the things that they really would like us to focus on in each phase, the more data they get, which is probably going to some degree, keep them on schedule a little bit longer. So keep those things in mind. So let's talk a little bit about phase 3. It starts on May 1st of 2025. And the big difference here, folks, is that the servers will be persistent. They're going to be up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Hopefully they don't have to wipe. They don't want to have to wipe. They want to keep things persistent as much as possible, but it's going to happen. I'm just throwing it out there right now. Like, it's going to happen. So there's going to be some major things that get found, and they're going to need to do full wipes of the server. So don't get attached to your character. You know, play a John Doe for now or a Jane Doe for now, and just realize that you might lose all of your progress, which is not that bad. It's only going up to level 25 for now with these phases, so it wouldn't be that bad if you had to reroll. And they're really aiming for those small windows of downtime. Sonny, what are your thoughts on persistence? 7 days a week. You can be able to keep up that cadence?
Absolutely not.
Nope.
And I mean, I had a real conversation today. I did a stream today, and we had a real conversation about burnout, and that is going to be a thing with something like this, where you have a consistent 7 days a week with most of the features in the game and testing, and it goes up and it comes down, and you're able to see all of the things. And then when the game launches, everyone's going to be super into it, right, for that period of time. But then it is going to be a lot of the stuff that you will have already tested. And we don't know how long Alpha 2 is going to go on. And so to maintain that kind of energy and to be interested in the development of this thing, I will be curious to see what Intrepid does along the way. They've been very good so far about, you know, the whole grand plan of how to keep the train rolling in a appropriate speed. And so I'm kind of curious about this, because there's a lot of speculation about how long an Alpha 2 could go. It could be very, very long. It could be shorter than that. And so I don't know. JB, when you hear something like 7 days a week, Alpha 2, persistent testing, does that concern you at all from like a burnout standpoint, or from like a loss of interest or anything like that?
No, not at all. And, you know, like Steven actually took to Reddit, and we put it on our Twitter feed at LoreForged HQ. I think that's our Twitter feed, right? Yeah, it is. Okay. So anyway, or X feed, whatever you want to call that place. But anyway, you can go there and see some of the things that Stephen clarified on regarding Alpha 2. And one of them, he said that potentially, quote, the Alpha 2 could go for at least a year, with that phase 3 portion alone. So it's just like when I think of burnout and those sort of things, I don't really that's not even a worry to me, really, because you're there to test. You're really there to provide feedback. And regardless of the feel in the community, I'm really happy that they have opened up keys the way that they have. And I know we're going to move to that in a few minutes, but I'm really glad they did the things they did, because ultimately you're going to get more people in there. We need feedback, as much feedback as possible. The more we have, the better it gets. And I've really been looking forward to this conversation, because I go back to, we have so many MMO vets, like players, fans, even developer in our chat right now. And we have seen companies do it the same way when they have a publisher breathing over their neck. And Intrepid doesn't have that thing, where they can take their time and really focus on quality. We've never seen an MMO develop like this that I can recall ever. Even in the history books before, I started playing in 2007, even into our late 90s, we have never, ever seen a development cycle like this. So, community, buckle up, because you're going to probably see some things that you've never, ever seen before. One of those is bringing people back in for keys like this, or maybe charging for keys like this, or something that, for the sole intent to test. And so to answer your question, Sonny, it doesn't concern me about burnout at all, because really, if you go into it with a focus, whether you want to see something, you want to test something specifically, you want to hey, I want to work on this tonight, go focus on this thing, and all my bug reports are going to be solely around this thing, you just make everything better. And really, I think that's what we need, Sonny.
Yeah, it's going to be a ride. And like you said, we've never seen this. I was thinking along the lines of alpha. I've never participated in an alpha. I've participated in a lot of betas, but never an alpha. So this will be kind of different for me as far as this goes. Cash, just real quick, have you ever done an alpha before?
Not an alpha. Nope. I've done
JB?
beta 1, beta 2, open beta.
Nope.
Never? I mean, like a million betas, right?
Yep.
Beta 1, like Cash said, beta 5, beta 9. It's just like all the betas.
Well, and it goes to show too that we're in this development cycle way earlier than we've ever been for any other game, and I think everybody that's here, but that's in chat, everybody who's keeping their eyes on the game, they're all in it for the most part earlier than they probably ever were in any other game. The difference here is the transparency, and that's what makes Intrepid's formula different. And that's why I have such a hard time watching people judge the things that they're doing when it's such a the most unique that any of us have ever seen in game development. So yeah, that's just kind of the way that I look at it. I mean, I give them a lot of grace when it comes to these things, because for a company to come in and just open things wide open, and I know other companies, fine. There's arguments out there that other companies have done that too. Look at Crowfall. Crowfall didn't do it like this. You know what I mean? Like, they might have had open and transparent development, but they're not doing it like this. And the kindness that's coming out of this company, the way that they're interacting with their people on a daily basis, if you're paying attention to their socials, it's a daily basis that they're reacting with people. A couple days ago, they had another office hours, and once a month they're doing these massive, wide open live showcases that take a lot of work. I can only imagine the work that goes into something like that for their producers. It's got to be nuts. So that's why we give them a wide berth. And if you want to call us fanboys for being on their side, you go right ahead. Like, we don't care. We've already established we're fanboys. We have a podcast about this game. So it's fine with us. But all I'm saying is that just, give them some slack.
I think that yeah, I mean, there's a difference between fanboys and white knighting and stuff like that, and then just being objectively appreciative of the amount of content that they're giving us.
Perfectly put. It's right? Perfectly put.
Yeah. I don't think that we are over the top when we say it's awesome to be able to cover a game in this stage of development and be provided content. We've been around for a long time. This ain't normal.
Nope.
Okay. Games are built in black boxes, and this game isn't. It's a clear box. They built it in a plexiglass box, and it's just crazy. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a show. We wouldn't be here because remember when we were talking about doing the show about the League of Legends MMO that was going to come out?
That's what we were prepping for before we came to Ashes.
We were legit this close. It wasn't even going to be LoreForged
on
this.
Yeah, we had everything.
We even had a logo. And you know what? You know how much I know about that show now versus when we made that logo? The exact same amount.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's actually less. They
less. I've forgotten a few things.
Yeah.
So this is nice.
Yeah.
I like this a lot. Okay, we got to move on to something else here. And frankly, we just got to hit this. This is just such an enormous thing. And it is the price point of the Alpha 2 keys. So the way that it goes, for anybody that doesn't know this, is that when the first wave comes out, you get basically the time from October to December and everything after. So you get wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. And the cost for that is $120. This was a clarification point that was a little bit unclear at first. You do get into the beta if you have the Alpha 2 keys, okay? So if you bought that for $120, you're basically playing until launch. And then at launch, you have to pay a subscription. I don't think there's any box cost for the game. I think that's how this is built. If you wait until January and you don't want to get the phase 1, only the weekends type of thing, then you can do the January to May thing. It is January, right? I got that right? Is that right? Did I get the dates on that?
Nailed it.
End of December, whatever. Around the new year, you go in phase 2, phase 3. By the way, I misspoke a little bit earlier. I said that they would take it down on the weekends. I don't know that to be true. I guess the dates that they take it down might be Wednesday and Thursday. Fine. It is 5 days a week, 2 days off. Probably makes a lot more sense to take it down in the middle of the week because people will play the hell out of it on the weekends. If you do that, you get all of that, all the way through, all the beta, all that, $110. If you wait until May and you just want to go phase 3, persistent, 24/7 on, and all the rest of it, $100. Okay, so you're basically paying $10 each for the first 2 phases, first 2 waves, phases, whatever. So, but it is $120, and at worst case, in May, it is $100 to test the game. It is not finished. There was 45 minutes of disclaimer out of Steven. That's how it worked. JB, I'm going to go to you first on this thing.
Hang on. Quick clarification.
Okay.
The beta was not in there initially.
Correct.
They added that.
Well, they clarified it.
Okay. Either or.
Either way.
They heard a lot of people upset about that. So it was either already included or
clarified.
Added. Yeah. So
either way, it's
either way you're getting it, and they
either heard people go bonkers, or they intended to do it the whole time. So I don't know, whatever. It's in now. Just it's good. So. But man, that would have been bad, right? That would have been bad. We all agree that would have been bad.
Yeah,
that would have been bad.
Sure. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna go to JB first on this thing, and JB, $120, Alpha 2 key, go.
So, I was at football practice for my kiddo, and I was walking the track at the high school there, and I was just listening to. Actually, I think I was just listening to the lo-fi music, and I was sitting there thinking while I'm walking, what are the pros? What are the pros and cons? I found one con so far, but I have a list of pros from what I was able to just pull from what they were talking about. So first off, 19 months of testing total around right now. That's where we're at. That equals out to $6.32 a month. That is almost 3 times as less than a subscription for a MMO.
But it's not a game.
It's not a game. That's correct.
Yeah.
So what else do you get out of that? Okay, well, you get to shape the game. When's the last time? And before I go, I have like a couple more, but when's the last time we have been able to say, truthfully, and you feel that weight that you are shaping an MMO? I can't recall. It's been a formidable amount of time. Formidable amount.
It's hard to do it in a black box.
It's hard to do it in a black box. Absolutely right. Next, direct communication with development team and fellow community members. Once in a lifetime opportunity. This is the stuff years down the road you'll talk about. So you get to be a part. They talked about that, the communication that they're going to have with the game, with the players, and also you're going to be alongside your community members with that. This is, without a doubt, the stuff, among many other things, that you will talk about when you're sitting around having a few beers or you're hanging out with your buddies at work. Do you remember when we tested that, what that looked like? Those you're pretty much also buying memories. Like, I know it's kind of cheesy to say, but that's pretty much, like that's memories with your bros, memories with the devs, getting involved in the development. And then I looked at the cons and I'm like, well, you're out $120 up front. That's all I could honestly, and I was like, I don't know what else, like what con could be here. Like it's so cheap per month and you get all these things like this. Like I found it very good, to be honest with you. So yeah.
Cash?
I'm happy with it. I think part of the reason I'm happy with it is because we bought in quite a while ago. But what I did do is I went through and I wanted to do some comparisons to the prices of these bundles and what you get with the prices of the pre-order packs that had bundles in it for the alphas and the betas. And in going through those, what I was able to discover is that the first two, and I'm talking about comparison, folks, between these bundles and the pre-order packs. There was only 2 pre-order packs that give you the bulk of the same things that you're getting in these packs. And those were the Wayfarer. Actually, I lied. I'm sorry. The Voyager and the Voyager Plus. There were 4 packs that you could buy. The Wayfarer for $75, the Expeditionary for $150, the Voyager for $250, and the Voyager Plus for $375. And Jibs, Sonny, and I are all Voyager Plus packs. Okay. No.
Nope.
Which one did you get? Voyager.
I got the Voyager.
Okay. Well, all you're missing is some cosmetic stuff that we're going to go over in some game time and such. So
yeah.
The only ones that are comparable, like I said, were the Voyager and the Voyager Plus, because the Voyager and the Voyager Plus both give you Alpha, Beta 1, and Beta 2. Correct. Right? So those are the only real comparable ones. So if we look at the Voyager cost $250. It costed $250 at the time. And what you're able to get is Alphas, Beta 1, Beta 2, 6 months of game time, $100 in-game marketplace credits. You get a cosmetic item, a pet skin, and a mount. Okay. Now, if we go to the Voyager Plus, that was $375, and you get the alphas, the betas, 9 months of game time, $125 in Embers, which is the in-game marketplace credits. And you get cosmetic, pet skin, mount, a costume, a caravan cosmetic, and a homestead cosmetic, and the name reservation, okay, for $375. Each of those things has a cost to it, right? So if you look at the Voyager had a total value of about $230, and you're basically paying $20 for the alphas and the betas for the testing phases. Okay. If you take everything else that you're getting out of there, you're only paying $20 with the Voyager pack for the testing phases. Okay. Now, if we move up to Voyager Plus, which was $375, The value is $350 and you're paying $25 for the testing phases. So I say all that to say this. Those packs were great. They were great for the money at the time, but those packs are now gone. They've moved into these other packs where you're essentially having to pay for. Go ahead. You have a question? Go.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Thank you. Long time listener, first time caller.
Right.
Sonny.
Spit it out.
Okay. Let's be honest. Like many people, including myself, bought that Voyager pack not for the cosmetics that were included, but for the alpha and the beta and the game time and maybe the money in the game, but I don't really care about that too much. I'm going to make my own money in the game, right? What is like the cost of this thing if we just use that and ignore the cosmetics that I don't actually care about a lot?
So just the alphas and the betas?
Well, like there are certain tangible things, right? Like the game time is a real thing. That is an actual value that has a real dollar currency attributed to it. So that first Voyager pack came with how many months? 6 months?
6 months of game time, $90 value.
Right. So just take off $90, right? So now we're down to $160, correct?
Right.
Is there anything else in there that's worth value other than the alpha and the beta?
$100 in embers.
Okay, so $100 in embers. In-game. Correct. The currency. Embers are like your gems, or like not your gold, silver, but like your cosmetic purchase stuff.
Your in-game currency, or your marketplace currency is $100.
Okay, so that's an actual currency value.
Right.
So let's take off $100. Now we're down to $60.
Right.
I buy that. That makes sense to me. $60 for the alpha and the beta, and even then, it's half the cost.
Right. And that's my point. Like you're leading right into my point. And my point is that at the time, those pre-order packs were well worth it because you got a lot. You're getting a lot for that, either $250 or $375. And even lower packs were worth it. So the newer packs don't have any cosmetics. There's no mounts. There's no pets. There's no name reservation. So you're missing all of that stuff. So hands down, the pre-order packs were greater value for the cost, right? And with the new testing packs, although the values are not as good, you are still getting an opportunity to test the game. I'm not justifying the price because that's a personal choice for you, but I think a lot of the discussion might be around, well, maybe they had other ways to bring people into the testing instead of charging for it, right? So what are some of the things you could do? Maybe a lottery, maybe key giveaways, etc. So I kind of culminated my bit of research down into why did they do it this way? Why would they choose to do it this way? Well, first of all, you could do a lottery. You could do key giveaways to start boosting those numbers of testers up because it's obvious they needed more testers, right? But they want people who want to test the game. Okay, that's my point number one. Point two is with something like a lottery, selecting testers through a lottery is still going to take time. It's going to take resources, and you're still going to end up with some people who are going to be happy to jump in and test, but maybe a lot of people that don't want to test. They just got a key, so they're going to try the game, right? The goal is to get testers who want to test the game. And if you put it behind a paywall, you're going to get people who want to get in and test the game. Key giveaways is going to be difficult to do anyway because they're not going to get the numbers of testers that they probably wanted to if you're doing tons and tons of key giveaways. There's logistics in that where you got to get emails, and you got to, if they're doing it on stream, then you got to have them message you. You got to get their email. You got to send it. So that's a pain. And still, you might get people who don't care about testing the game. They just want to try it out. And my last point is that the game is self-funded, right? A lot of it was from Kickstarter. A vast majority of it was from privately through Steven and John. And charging for testers who want to play the game is probably going to be a pretty big way to boost funds for the game, which they need. Of course, they're going to need it, right? So anyway, in a nutshell, that's the research that I did. I really just wanted to take those numbers and kind of compare them to see the value that people are getting. They're definitely paying more to get into the test now, but I think that there's a lot of reasons behind that and why they decided to do that. So you take it for however you want. I'm just presenting the facts. Don't hate me. I'm just the messenger. But that's the way the numbers should go.
And you bring up a lot of excellent points. I think that when you break it down like that, there is value to that. My take on this is I got two things that I want to talk about here briefly. I'm going to try to hammer them through here, and you're about to see Capital Sunny come out in a big way. All right?
Oh boy. Okay.
So buckle up. First things first. There.
Fun fact.
Fun facts. So you're not wrong that there is a clear calculation on the value of the pre-order packs versus the value of this. And I think that they were very cognizant of that value to be able to make a strong argument on both sides, because they have to play both sides of the fence here. They can't make it feel like they gouged the people beforehand that got in early at the cost of the people now that are getting this. And the people now can't feel like they're being gouged also just because they're like later to the game. Now they can pay a little bit more because they are later to the game. And there is a price advantage for getting in early, and there always has been in any level of economics. The difficulty is this. There is a difference between value and cost. Okay? So the value is there. JB laid out the value. The value is like $6 a month or something like that for you to be able to test and have a once in a lifetime opportunity to test the game, build a game, do all the things that JB said. $6 a month. Would you do that? Hell yeah, I would do that. And then you get to the other side of it, which is what Cash is saying. Oh yeah, it's going to cost you $120 tomorrow. Okay. Lump sum. That is cost. That is cost versus value. Those are two different things. If I can get a Ferrari for $35,000, that's a $100,000 Ferrari, that's a tremendous value. But it also cost me $35,000 that I don't have. So I can't do that because of the cost, okay? So when you have people that are in a situation that their eyes pop out at this sticker price, that's reasonable. That's them. That's their personal financial situation. And I can appreciate that. Okay. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. Both of those can exist. It can be a great value, and it also can be an eye-popping cost. I get it. So that's my take on that. When it comes to like, why did they do that? I think there's two reasons why they did this. One is because the first part that I said, where they had to be on both sides of this fence. They had to provide a reasonable strategy for people to not feel like they got robbed in the early phase and not feel like they got robbed in the end phase. And they did a pretty good job of that, like Cash broke down. I thought that is actually, when you really do the math, not so bad, right? Like it's pretty close. It's a little bit more, but that's all right. You've heard a lot of people say, well, they're doing this because they need money. And I think Cash disagrees with that. He says they're self-funded, stuff like that. I'm going to disagree with Cash. I'm going to say they need money. And here's why. Because you always need money. These are expensive games to make, all right? Steven said they had 200 employees working on this game right now at Intrepid. 200 employees. This game is taking place in Southern California, San Diego. Let's just say that the cost of the average employee, we're not talking Margaret, the average employee is $100,000, okay? And that is salary. And everybody knows that salary is just a component of the cost of an employee. 200 employees times $100,000 per year is $20 million, okay? $20 million right there. That's 1 year. That's salary. That's not medical. That's not insurance. That's not the cost of putting a comfy seat under them and giving them a monitor, okay? That's just salary. $20 million this year. Steven says that he put $90 million into this game. If that's true, that's awesome, right? But how many years of development has this game been in? A lot of years. It is okay to put money back into a game at this stage. They're gonna need money. They need to generate that cash flow. This is a totally reasonable cash flow entry because it also accomplishes something that they need, which is exactly what Cash said. They need testers. Not all of this stuff has to be one or the other. It can be both. They need this kind of money and they also need the testers. So it's win-win for everybody. And I thought that they did actually a very good job of setting that price point at a point where it's not outrageous when you really break down the math. JB?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, there's so many things to unpack there. Yeah, I agree. Money is always good to have. You know, it's always good to add to your coffers to be able to continue funding something. I'm going to go back to the thing I said earlier. You are witnessing a development, and there I would go out on a limb and say probably nobody in this chat, nobody here among us has ever seen. You are seeing an open development from a non-published game, a non-published studio, okay, that's doing their own thing. There's going to be a lot of firsts. Some people may not always agree with those firsts. This is probably one of those things where you're being charged to get into to test. I think it goes back to people's mentality. Where are you at mentally with this? Oh, this isn't worth the value? Well, what value? What you decide is value to you is not value to somebody else.
Boom.
It's a fair point, right?
Like, so it's apples to oranges. So to me, I'm not trying to say, oh, we've been around. That's not what I mean. Between the three of us, we have seen a lot of MMOs, and I know when I look back on all those times, those memories that you were able to make, the fact that you were able to be a part of something before it was out, for instance, WildStar, the things you were invited to, those memories that you make with the dev team and also fellow community members, you only ever get those once. Only ever get those once. And the fact that I get to have those things on top of help make the game better, which is the real focus, making it better, because that's what we all want. We're all tired of the same cyclical stuff that comes out every year that has a publisher breathing down your neck that ultimately you gung-ho to max level. You either do a raid or PvP, a dungeon, or you're done. Or you gather and you work the auction house. Folks, are we not tired of that? That's why most of us are here. That's why we're invested in this game, in this company, because we really believe the world is cyclical and it always comes back around. Well, it just so happens Ashes is trying to create, and successfully doing so, a reset, which was the original MMO style, which is nothing that's been put in play because people are too afraid to do it because it costs way too much to do it. So this rant, I'm ending on this. Ultimately, it's going to come down to everyone's going to look at something like value to someone else is not the same as to the other person. With this, you have an opportunity to make something better and make some memories along the way and help the genre that is in desperate need of a reset. It's a no-brainer to me. It's a tough look. I will say this, and I'm sorry. $120 is a lot. It could be a lot. I remember when, you just get married and you can hardly afford an ice cream cone, okay? I remember those days. This is going to be palatable for everybody, okay? But taking that out of it and looking at what's going to possibly help for the game, look at it from that standpoint instead of the standpoint of maybe, that's a price point that I'm just not comfortable with.
Yeah, I'll just end on this. Or I'll give it to Cash after I'm done, actually. JB, you bring up a lot of very excellent points. I don't want to make it seem like we're trying to sell people on this thing, though.
No.
I think that this is a very personal decision because of the cost. It is a real cost, right? And that is something that you have to be able to shell out and enjoy, right? Nobody wants to create a situation where you pay a bunch of money and then feel awful because you missed rent because of it. Like, don't do that.
Please don't do that.
Please don't do that, right? That's a bad decision, all right? But the value, like I said, the difference between value and cost for me, the value is there. And frankly, if you don't think the value is there at $120, I'm okay with that, right? Like this first wave is going to be dicey. It's going to be a couple days a week. It's going to be busted. It's going to be all sorts of stuff. Who knows, right? But I don't think you can make that argument in May. I think in May, when you get 24/7 persistent and all these features are in that thing and you're testing for God knows how long, like, I think the value, like, it's real hard to make a no value argument there. Cost will always be there. It's a little less, but it's still $100. But value in May, it's there. So that's my final point. JB, I think you nailed it though. It's a personal decision.
I felt like I should have cheered after Jibs went, because I think he nailed it, and he hit on a lot of points that really resonate with me too. And like our chat right off the bat, like I'm loving the conversation that we're seeing in our chat. It's everybody's being super respectful. And I really appreciate that, because this is kind of like the cash shop debate, right? It can get very spirited. People have very strong opinions on stuff like this, especially when it comes to money. And I can completely understand that it's, that could make a difference. I mean, 100 to $150 can put a lot of people in a place where they can't afford to do it. I fully understand that. And you may have all your different reasons, and I'm seeing some very good reasons that I respect everybody's opinions in chat who's talking about it. But still, at the bottom line, it is a personal choice for you. As to the reasons that you want to get into the test, for me, a big reason is that if I were, to have not bought that key, I would still be purchasing one of these keys. And I think a lot of the reasons being is that even if people are seeing it as a money grab, like Sonny was saying, like another thing on top of that, Sonny, on top of, salaries and benefits and all the things that they have to pay to be able to retain really good folks to build the game, is that they're in a brick and mortar. They're in a building. I know what it costs for a commercial building in Southern California. It's crazy. And imagine the power costs in the summertime in Southern California with all of those PCs running while everybody does their work. I don't even want to think. Do
you think they have like a fleet of interns riding bikes in the basement to generate all this stuff?
I don't think it would touch it. Right. So I fully understand why, why they would need to bring more money in. As there was a really good comment that somebody posted earlier, and I forget where it was. But there's no box cost for the game, right? So there's not going to be another big chunk of money coming in. They need to keep revenue coming in for the game. So if you choose to buy into the test and support the company or whatever your reasons are, it's still a choice. And two last things. If you are not going to get into the test, you're not dead in the water. There's going to be so many people streaming, including us. You're going to be able to see the game. You're just not going to be able to feel it for a while, but you're going to get our opinions on it. You're going to get other content creators' opinions on it. So those things that you are going to be able to see is definitely worth something. Okay. The other thing that I will say, if you are thinking about making this purchase, please do not purchase access to the alphas if your intent is to play a completed game, because you will be disappointed. This is not early access. This is a test phase. Yep. Small areas of the world are going to be available, small bits of content at a time. Slowly over time, additional things are going to be placed into the game. Don't do that to yourself, because all you're going to do is upset yourself. When you're testing a game, it is a test. And that is it. And they said it several times on that stream. Be ready, because it is a test. Later on down the line, when it's more of a completed game, now you're looking into beta 1 and beta 2. Those are going to be a little bit more of a time where the game is going to be a game. But until then, let this alpha phase go. Just let the testers get in there and do their thing, and save yourself the money if you were looking to get into a completed game.
Yeah, I think that like most of the stream was disclaimers for that reason. But man, like you just can't, you can't say it enough, right? Exactly like you said. If I pay $120 for a full release Star Wars game, like I expect that thing to be tight. I expect that thing to be lights out. That is not what we're doing here, okay? And in phase 1, it is going to be ugly. And people are freaking out about this. It's like, well, they're charging me $120 to play a broken game. Like, no, they're charging you $10 to play a test. And then 3 months later, they're going to charge you $10 more. And then in May, that's really where the $100 is to play a broken game. So you gotta like look at the big picture on this thing. And you know, YouTube is just out of control with opinions on this kind of stuff. And I get it. I get what makes that algorithm work. I do. We're not idiots. We understand it. But like when you really break it down, it is an understandable position by a company that wants this thing to work. They want this thing to work. They need the testing. They probably need the money because MMOs are expensive. It just all makes sense to me. So like, so long as it makes sense to you as the player, what you're getting, then everything is copacetic.
Yeah. As the tester, Sonny.
As a tester. You're a game playing robot. You're a test playing tester. You're a test playing testing robot. I was like almost infuriated the number of disclaimers that I had to wade through in that live stream. I'm like, oh, if you don't get it by now, you're already making the thumbnail with Steven's red eyes. Like, we get it. Like, it's a test. All right. We're all on board here. So yeah. My God.
Oh, actually, you know what? I have it still up, and that's exactly what it says at the bottom. And this is the quote that Steven used a lot, and I couldn't remember it. As always, development is a moving train and subject to change.
A moving train and subject to change.
I love it.
There it is. Yeah. Right.
Bless his heart.
You got any more room for a tattoo on that arm there, Cash?
No. I'm full.
Oh, okay. So I think this is a good spot to wrap up. And the next episode, we'll talk more about the things that are actually included in these phases, and we'll discuss more on the AMA. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much to everyone who's here at the live show, and thank you everyone for just stopping and pushing play. We really appreciate every single one of you. If you enjoyed your time here, let us know how we're doing, whether it's a podcast app or a comment or like, however you do however you take in your content, let us know how we're doing. We certainly do appreciate it. You can always call us, of course, 516-875-1776. You call us with your voicemails and we'll bring back the mailbag segment. We'll answer your questions live on the show. Maybe give us your opinions after this week on the AMA. What stood out to you? You let us know about the stuff we talked about. You can always email us, LoreForgedHQ@gmail.com. Sonny.
Thank you to everybody in the chat. This was a super good chat situation. Everybody was super cool about it. They had great opinions. They weren't shy on opinions, but they were chill. And that is just like, it is a testament to the community that we have around us, that we have reasonable people. And as a reward, this week we gave you all new emojis. And so I'm not even gonna like say anything to JB during the week. Next week, we'll do some more new emojis. We got more slots. Let's do some more new emojis for next week's show. What do you think, JB? Thumbs up?
Double thumbs up, Sonny.
Thumbs up. Put him on the spot. Love it. Okay.
Oh my God. Are you guys married?
He's so mad.
Jeez.
We have a website and somebody already put the links in there. I made a new links thing. See what Rogue did? It put all the links. You want some links with your links? Go to LoreForged.com and that is our link tree. You can get to all the stuff there, including YouTube, where Cash has he's just crushing on YouTube. We hit 100. No, we didn't. We hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. It was a major milestone and we're just having a ton of fun. So that is at youtube.com/@LoreForged. Twitch is taking off like a rocket. We're having a blast on Twitch. And that is right here at twitch.tv/LoreForgedHQ. Check me out. I will be streaming during the day on days when I am not working because I have so much fun doing it with you guys. I wish I could play Ashes. I can't, so I just kind of build little cities in weird medieval games. That's all I can do though right now. And then finally we have Patreon, and Patreon is something that we love dearly. It is where you can find the State of the Owl, which we just recorded and just posted to Patreon. That is our behind the scenes special full-length episode for our patrons exclusively. Plus you get access to the Happy Hour Discord channel, which is exclusive to our patrons also. So thank you very much to all those people. We are having a meeting tomorrow, which just brings joy to my little spreadsheet heart. So that we can talk about all sorts of stuff and have some plans. So all of those things that I just listed off, we're gonna have new plans in year 2 for stuff like that. Jay,
what?
Nope. Cash.
Yeah, let JB do it.
No
problem.
Cash. Don't. Cash.
Friends, follow us on X at LoreForged HQ. Follow us on our Instagram page at LoreForged HQ. I want to welcome a whole bunch of new Discord members this last week. Big happy hoots and welcome to the LoreForged family to Vet, Overall Enthusiasm, Zezus, Nezir, Nader Tater 21, Cattleweir, Foyts, Gronkowski, Kelpies. I'm not reading that next one. Jibs literally typed in Cash is an idiot.
You should have
not a
tried
real
to like
person.
spell it weird, like Cash is an idiot.
Like a license
And you
plate.
could, dude, you're 5 freaking years old. You couldn't even like keep your laugh in. He's like,
Sitting there dying.
welcome to Zach Buzzard. Welcome to Seabat. And I want to give a very special welcome to an old friend of ours from our Lore Seeker days at Elder Scrolls Online. Welcome to John, or Grandpa Tech. I was very happy to see you join us over here at our Ashes of Community project, or Ashes of
Yeah.
Ashes of
That one.
project.
That one thing. Yeah.
Friends, we have a couple really cool new
now.
videos. Hey, you guys have already had your time, so I'm
Sorry.
going to ask that you zip it.
Oh, my
Thank you.
fault. Yellow flag. Yellow card.
We, it's the first yellow flag of the night, right there. That's for both of you,
All right. It's fair. Not mad.
dip poops. We have some very special YouTube videos coming out tomorrow, which by the time you hear this recording on Monday morning, we will have a brand new, very special episode of The Varan Chef. So please check that out. And then I got something else cooking that I think will be really fun for the alpha testers out there and people who are going to get involved in the testing process. So anyway, that's it. I hand the reins back to JB.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. We love you. We hope you have a wonderful week in gaming. Come join us. We'd love to meet you. And we will see you next week right here on LoreForged. Take care, everybody.
Peace, love, and honeybees.
Safe travels, adventurers.